Today we shall learn what is money market and what role does it play in our lives, right? The money market is a part of the broader financial market, which we already mentioned so many times. Now we know that the financial market acts as a soul or heart of a financial system. This is a place where we can buy and sell financial assets like stocks, bonds, deposits, mutual funds, and many other type of financial securities. So it provides us with different types of investment options and also the mechanism under which such investments can be priced and valued for their fair worth, right? Now let's analyze the financial market. The overall financial market in a financial system is bifurcated into two major categories, right? The market for long-term assets or financial claims and the market for short-term assets or financial claims. Today, we shall begin with understanding market for short-term liquid assets or financial claims. This is the market that is known as money market, right? Now, what is money market? This is a question that may be raised is what's the money market? The answer to this question is that this is the market where money is exchanged for those financial assets that are very close to being money. In other words, in this market, people transact for investments that are close substitutes of money, right? Therefore, this market provides us with investments that have two things. And these two things are number one, liquidity, the ability that we can, convert our investments into cash with much ease. And the number two is the humble returns, right? So people go to money markets with two requirements, or they feel that these markets would provide them with two facilities. One is instant liquidity, and the other is some kind of returns which will help them to keep the value of their savings intact over time, right? Now imagine if we have a sum of money as surplus and we would not be interested to spend it, right? Let us say that we have some savings to pay our course fee for coming semester. Now let me tell you that money is also an asset, because if you look at the currency note, you'll always find something is written on that. What is that which is written on a currency note? If you look, if you look carefully on a currency note, you will find some words are written there. It is basically a promise given by the issuer of the currency note. So money or currency note in that sense is actually nothing but a promissory note, right? A promissory note can be exchanged for a value. So promissory note is just like any other asset. It has a value. Anything that has value is considered as an asset, right? So money is also an asset, but what is the difficulty? Money is also an asset, but it is not a productive asset. It's a sterile asset. Money as an asset doesn't yield anything. All right, am I clear? So till we spend to need okay, so it doesn't yield us anything if it's held in the crude form. If we don't invest the money somewhere, then the possibilities that we will lose on its value, will not gain anything, right? Because money is not productive in nature. Money doesn't give rise to any yield, right? So till we need to spend money, we were actually discussing that we suppose we have a saving and we don't think that we are going to spend that saving in the near future. Am I clear? So till we need to spend this money, uh, really better is that we invest it in a short term asset, right? Contrast this, if we are saving every month to plan for buying a car, then such saving could be invested in a long term asset. So it depends on what's our objective, what's our goal. Is our objective to fulfill some short term need, or is our objective to realize a long term goal, right? And then in both the cases we might be in need of money, we might require to have money, right? But if we do have the money in hands, and if we save money for meeting our certain objectives, then it is always advisable that we hold money not in its crude form, because if we hold it in crude form, then we will be losing, right? So better is that we invest it somewhere. Okay, then what is the ideal place where we would be, where we would prefer to invest our money? The markets is always an ideal place, but what kind of markets we should generally invest our money, this entirely depends on our you know goal, what we are going to achieve, what is our need. Do we need liquidity or higher returns? If we need liquidity, then money markets is always an ideal place because it provides us with short term instruments. But if, however, we are not interested in liquidity, we can sacrifice liquidity, we can give up liquidity. If we think only achieving higher returns, then in lieu of giving up liquidity, we can think of going somewhere else, like capital markets, long term markets, where we can buy a financial security that has a possibility of yielding us higher returns. Am I clear? So, Hence, hence money market obviously provides us with an outlet where we can plan our short-term savings and investment. Okay, so money market is basically meant for short-term, investments or short or trade or dealing in short-term securities, right? Now, after getting a fair idea of what money market is, let's now try to understand a money market further from its features. All right. If you look at this slide, you can see a list of characteristics of the money market is presented in front of you, right? The money market offers a variety of financial instruments, that differ in terms of issuers, risk return, and liquidity characteristics, right? Hence, depending upon type of a financial security, money market is further subdivided into many different markets. So, in that sense, it represents actually a collection of many markets. So, what are those many markets? That is what is our future agenda. That's what we will be discussing in the future classes, right? So, we will actually break up, or we will, dissect this broader term of many markets into smaller, sub markets. Each market has unique characteristics that will be taken up in the future classes, right? The second feature of money market is that it is highly liquid, and this is so because only short term financial instruments maturing in less than a year trade in a money market. Moreover, money market is a wholesale market where large institutions operate, and hence minimum value of instruments has been set at rupees 25,000. Just because only institutions can operate in a money market and not the individuals, that's what makes default risk in many markets almost non-existent. It is not present there at all, right? So people should not worry about whether the other party would default or perform well, right? So default risk is not at all present in the money markets. This is so because institutions cannot default, as doing so will affect their market reputation. Loss of market reputation can potentially lead to a greater loss than the gain that could be due to not meeting a contractual obligation or going for default by an institution in the money markets, right? So this was, about the characteristics or features of a money market, so that we have more idea, so that we are able to understand the money market in a more depth, right? Now, this is the list of key stakeholders or players that operate in the money market. From this list, we can understand that these participants mainly include, from this list, we can understand that these participants mainly include, right? So from this list, we can understand that these participants mainly include banks and financial institutions. Since money market is a wholesale market, we can see here that only institutions that generally have huge blocks or corpus of funds trade in money markets. Now, someone may ask that why don't individuals operate in a money market? Initially, this argument could be strong because, a bank or a financial institution basically collects deposits and grants loans mostly to individuals or households. But when we say money market, then this market is different from the one market where we transact deposits and loans with the bank. So we should not, misunderstand money market as a market in which we go and deposit our money with a bank. Okay. Rather, money market is a different place. Now, money market is fundamentally another market where a bank or a financial institution does business with other fellow banks or parties that have been mentioned already, right? Therefore, banks or financial institutions operate essentially in two different markets. And these markets are, one market is the market where these financial institutions accept savings from customers as deposits and then use these funds to make loans to other customers. So, this is their traditional market, right? That is the market our next door. Am I clear? And but then the second market, which is money market, is the market where these institutions don't these institutions deal with other fellow institutions or central bank and governments to borrow and lend money. All right. So there are fundamentally two different markets where financial markets operate. One is their traditional market, in which they can collect money from customers and, then utilize that for granting credit to others. Another is a broader market where, those customers cannot go, right? Wherein only the banks go later on to deal on wholesale basis, in a wholesale manner, right? Now let's see what do different participants that belong to money market do there. All right. What is the role of each and every participant, which we have already discussed, in the money market, right? Each one has a different role to play, but fundamentally every one of the participants can either, borrow money or lend money to others in the this market, right? Now, the central bank sells and buys government securities like treasury bills and also takes part in different activities. For example, open market operations, setting up policy interest rates. So, this is the domain or this is the role of the central bank in the money market, right? Then, commercial banks are there who act as main subscribers of treasury bills offered by the central bank. So, the main buyers of the treasury bills that are offered by central bank in the money market is the commercial banks, right? Okay. Apart from that, the commercial banks also borrow and lend funds for short-term maturity from each other and also occasionally from central bank and other market players, right? Like financial institutions, corporations also offer short-term securities and buy such securities issued by other players, including central bank and commercial banks in the money market, right? So this is the role of each, market participant who is entitled or who is designated or who has a role to play in the money market, right? Next, let's see what's the purpose of the money market, or what purpose does serve money market for its various stakeholders, right? Because we discussed there are various people, there are various entities or organizations that can operate in the money market. Money market is basically institutionally dominated. Individuals are not encouraged to, or they cannot go there because of certain reasons, certain conditions. And when we say institutions or organizations operate in a money market, and what are those institutions, the list shows that explains you the type or kind of organizations that operate in a money market. And now question arises that why these organizations go to money markets, what purpose does money market serve to these organizations when they are there, right? If we look at governments through their central banks use this institution of money markets to exercise various monetary policy tools so that they could maintain equilibrium levels in supply of money and credit in the overall system, right? Now, banks use this market to park their surplus funds for very short periods and similarly also to lift funds for short periods to tackle situations where they face deficiency of funds, right? Similarly, corporations also use this market for managing their cash flow mismatches in the short term horizon. Only mutual funds have a unique role to play in this market. Now, what's that unique role? These entities, mutual funds, they are not allowed to raise or borrow funds from the money market. All other, participants have both the, discretion. Can enjoy both privilege. They can both borrow money as well as lend money in the money markets, right? But only mutual funds have a one-sided role. They are not encouraged. They are not allowed to borrow money or raise money from the money markets. Rather, they can act only as sole lenders, right? So they can only buy financial securities when they have surplus. So they have a role to play in money markets only when they have surplus funds, because since they are not allowed to raise funds, what they can do is then with the help of surplus funds, they can park those funds in money market securities. Money market securities are generally considered to be, less riskier, right? Am I clear? And mutual funds, generally have a huge surplus to be parked in various investments. Okay. Then moving on, here is the list of financial instruments that different parties who operate in the money market can offer or deal with there. Am I clear? However, it requires a little bit of clarification. Okay. The list is, self-explanatory. You can, when you look at the list, you can easily find out, the domain of each and every market participant, and then what kind of financial securities it can deal in there, right? But it requires a little bit of clarification. For example, a central bank, can both sell its designated financial instruments and also buy them back. It can do both the things, right? But it does not trade in the money market instruments or securities that are designated to other players like banks and corporations. So essentially, central bank is at the top. It issues the certain kind of financial securities and can only deal in them. The rest of the securities which are there issued by the other market players, it has nothing to do with them, right? Anyway, in contrast to this, what a central bank can do in the money market, banks and corporations can deal both in their designated securities as well as the securities offered by the central bank. So banks have the privilege, or banks are allowed to operate or deal in the securities that they issue as well as the securities which are issued by the central bank. So that means they can, if they wish, they can issue their own securities which are mentioned in the slide to raise or invest money in the money market, or else if they can, manage their short term funds by buying or selling other securities that are issued by the central bank, right? Am I clear? Moreover, corporations can issue only their designated securities, but have liberty to invest in any money market security irrespective of their issuer. Okay, let me, add some more explanation to this whole, idea of what instruments can be issued by different stakeholders that occupy a very important role in the money market, right? As I told you already that the central bank can issue only treasury bills and some other kind of instruments, and then it generally does issue them to raise funds from the money market, or else when it has surplus funds, it can use those funds to buy back its own instruments from the market, right? It generally does not, park its funds into the instruments which are issued by other stakeholders like commercial banks and corporations. Okay, so contrast to this, commercial banks can have their own instruments like those which are mentioned in the slide to raise funds from the market and use these instruments also to park their surplus funds. But condition is that these instruments at that time have to be issued by their fellow bankers, other bankers, right? Apart from doing that, they can also use the instruments that are issued by the central bank to manage their day-to-day, cash flows. Like, they can buy both central bank instruments as well as sell them in the market whenever they wish so. Am I clear? Because, there is an active secondary market available in case of money market, wherein those instruments that are brought directly from the issuer can then be later on or subsequently traded with other investors or other participants or other players in the market. Am I clear? Similarly, corporations have the privilege of issuing certain instruments, okay, that they only can issue in the market for raising capital, for raising funds, short-term funds. Am I clear? But if, however, they have surplus funds, they have the privilege of investing or buying, same securities issued by their fellow corporations, other corporations, and also the securities that commercial banks and central banks offer in money markets, right? Okay, so this was a little bit of clarification that I thought essential in order to make you people understand, what kind of instruments, financial instruments can be issued by different stakeholders or different participants that actually participate in the money market, right? Then in the next slide, finally, we reach the stage where we discuss the functions performed by the money market, right? Now let's examine what role or functions does a money market play as a whole. Okay, as a whole, क्या function या क्या importance या क्या काम करता है money market in the whole financial system, right? On top of the list of all the functions, these are just the major functions. There are a lot many functions which are there which we have not, which I have not mentioned in this discussion. Okay, for your information, you can, go to the resources and try to understand what are the other functions, but the principal or main functions I have given in the slide. Okay, on top of the list of any list of functions that the money markets perform, money markets, provide. Okay, a money market provides an ideal surface to central banks where they can exercise their monetary policy interventions just to influence position of liquidity and general level of interest rates in the system. So money markets provide an ideal turf to the central banks wherein they can come and exercise their monetary policy tools, monetary policy instruments, and then ensure that their objectives of monetary policy are achieved in the overall system. Am I clear? Besides this, a money market also acts as a bridge to strike a balance between short-term savings and short-term credit requirements in the system as a whole. Above all these functions, a money market is the basis of existence for a capital market. Without a money market, a capital market cannot exist. Why it is like that? Why? How can we pass on such a serious statement? Such a far-reaching statement that a capital market cannot exist without the money market being there in the first place, right? This is because unless there are banks who facilitate payment and remittance of money in the capital market, whenever a trade takes place in the capital market for a long-term security, it will happen only with the exchange of money. But question is that who will enable the payment and remittance of that money between the parties in the capital market? The answer is very simple. Banking entities or banking companies are the organizations that operate in the money market, and they transcend to the capital markets as well. as far as their role is concerned, and help people to facilitate them with the payment and remittance of money whenever they require, so particularly in case when they are interested in entering into selling and purchasing or buying and selling of long term securities in the capital market, right? Am I clear? From this, we can understand how vital money market is for development of a long-term capital market in any economy, right? And finally, money market provides banks with a hedging ground. Banks are the entities who involve a huge risk on their in their businesses, because they actually engage themselves into the financial contracts only. Most of their assets which are on their books are the financial assets. So they create a lot of financial risks in their books for themselves. And then question arises, where would they go to manage that risk? Is there any mechanism? Is there any facility? Is there any alternative available in the market? The answer is yes. Okay. So money market is again a place which banks can think of, venturing into or going if they want to manage or hedge their risk that arises in their favor due to fluctuations happening in the overall market interest rates, right? So that was about the major function a money market performs in the whole, in the system as a whole, right? And then finally, before we conclude, let's take a look at the structure of prevailing rates that exist in case of different money market instruments, so that we have a fair idea of the uh, yield structure of money market presently in India, right? So if you look at this slide, you can see the current yields or current return that an investor can actually think of realizing if he invests in these securities is given in this slide. Okay, the yield for treasury bill, ranges from is in the range of 3%. Then call money market, the rates range from a low of 1.80% to a high of 3.45%. Then repo rate and reverse repo. What's a repo and reverse repo? Soon, we'll be having a session to understand it. But the market repo rates are 4% and 3.35%. You can, take it as these are the lending and borrowing rates in the money market, collateralized, secured lending and rates, right? Then we have certificate of deposit. This is the structure of rates in case of certificate of deposits that is presently in vogue in the Indian money market. For 14 days, it's around 6%. Then, for 12 months, you can see it's around 8%, right? As the maturity increases, the return also increase because of the increase in risk, right? Then for commercial papers, there's a return ranging between 3.15 to 4.25% depending upon the maturity of the commercial paper. Okay, so that's all about introduction of money market in today's session.